Good evening, friends, and welcome back to the Career Shifts podcast. This is the journey to the future. As always, I want to begin with gratitude. The love for this podcast, the comments that you share, the notes, the reflections, it means more than you know. But I also want to make a small ask of you. If this podcast has moved you, made you pause, even if one story stayed with you, don't keep it to yourself. These conversations are meant to travel. So please subscribe, share, reshare, because someone out there needs to hear what is being said here. Now, today's episode is different. It asks for more honesty, more stillness, and maybe quiet moment of courage to ask, is this the life I truly want to lead, or just the one I have lived, learned to perform? Because we talk a lot about leadership, about scaling, about achieving, optimizing, outperforming. But what if the real shift we need isn't more speed, but more presence? Here's a bit of uncomfortable truth. Most leaders aren't exhausted because they are working too much. They're exhausted because they are disconnected from themselves while doing it. So I invited someone who doesn't just talk about presence, she embodies it. Meet Deepa Mahesh, leadership facilitator, expressive arts therapist, ICF certified coach, and founder of Purna Wellbeing. Deepa didn't leave the corporate because she burnt out. She left because she saw what many of us often miss, that wholeness isn't something you hustle towards, it's something you return to through reflection, through rhythm, and radical honesty. In this episode, I will speak with her about why burnout isn't about overwork, but about inner disconnection, how movement, silence, and mandalas unlock real leadership, what it means to hold space for others and for yourself, why future belongs to actually the present, and why presence, not performance, is the real edge. This isn't a soft conversation by any ways. This is a necessary one. Because in a world obsessed with noise, the ones who are grounded, whole, and fully here are the ones who will quietly shape what comes next. So take a breath, set to do the list aside, and join us for this deeply human conversation. Deepa, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Gopal. And I loved what you shared in the beginning. So, I'm just checking in how am I feeling, and I feel very grounded. That's how I'm feeling. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a great place to start because in a world where we are just hustling, moving around without really pausing, a lot of work that I think we do as part of being coaches is something that is very important. And I know for a fact that you're doing some incredible work in that space. And I thought it would be a great one for us to bring your perspectives to some of the things that are bothering a lot of us, but perhaps we haven't been able to put a voice to that.
Correct.
So, Deepak, for me, this journey started a year ago, and I've kind of had a great pleasure of bringing in people from various walks of life, people who have pivoted, transitioned into uh, newer career options, if I can say, and thrived when they did that. So you're my guest number 46.
Wow.
I keep saying
Congratulations to me
that.
and to you.
Deepa, I think before we get into all of what the conversation is about, I would like you to, introduce yourself and talk about your career shifts because that's where I would like to start about your journey. What shifts did you take? At what point of time, and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, yeah, I go back to, I did my GNIT course many years ago. And then
Mm.
I had an option to either go into coding, which I couldn't understand head or tail of, or selling, which I tried. And 1 year I had to do cold, cold calling and all of that, and I knew that it was not for me. So I didn't know what
Mm.
to do, and so I went and did my MBA in human resources, and I started my
Wonderful.
career. So I started as an executive assistant. 1 year into it, and I knew number crunching is not my cup of tea. So picked up a job
Mm.
in human resources, and it was a small IT hardware firm in Mumbai.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I served that organization for 4.5 years. I was the head of HR because there was no other HR person, and I had to set up the HR team, processes, and all of that.
Mm.
Great experience. I had to shift to Bangalore. So my next jump was with the Aditya Birla Group, and I worked there for 10 long years. And I was working for this company called Madura Fashion and Lifestyle in Bangalore.
Mhm.
So that I think my career started there. I would say that
Mm.
because I think I was groping in the dark, and from there, I think I landed in light, and I could create in
Wow.
light. That's how I felt. And it opened the world of possibilities for me because whatever I touched, I could create anything. And I found myself, my calling, my love, my talents, my strengths, my managers, amazing people I worked with, my colleagues from great B schools. I enjoyed it.
Mm.
In 2012, I started feeling this feeling that I'm not enjoying. I did feel that I was burnt out. But I'll tell you what happened after that to that story. I thought I quit because I burnt out, and
Mm.
uh, and I was attending Aditya Birla Group event, which is called the Planet
Sure.
Awards. We were participating
Sure.
there. We won the award. And the day we won the award is the day I decided that I'm going to quit because I felt like holding that award didn't make any sense to me. Like I had disconnected from the award
Mm.
and from the doing and from all the laurels that came with it. And I was highly successful then. But something was missing. Joy was
Mm.
definitely missing, fulfillment was missing. So I quit. But I quit, and that was quite a feeling of I don't know what I'm going to do. Then I did expressive arts therapy. I learned it.
Mm.
I started practicing it. I started connecting with myself. And you know what was that disconnection? The disconnection was the why of whatever I was doing. I was doing OD, I was doing HR, I was doing this. I was, making budget presentations. I was attending meetings, but I was not able to find the why there. I was not connecting to whatever I was doing. And when I was facilitating, when I was talking to an employee, or when I was running a focus group discussion, I would, there was a spark inside me. But can I do that all the time? No. I have to do other things.
Mm.
So I think much later I understood when I connected with what I love is if I could do that 100% of the times at my workplace, I don't think I would have quit. But that was a realization much later. And then arts therapy for several years, and then coaching, facilitation, and now I'm running my own setup. I facilitate, I coach, I run cohorts, and I volunteer. I volunteer at IAF, and volunteer in different social impact projects. I
Mm.
volunteer for a school, so I can do whatever I want. And now I realize that I spend more number of hours than I was spending earlier, but I'm so
Yeah.
fulfilled, and I'm not burnt out. I am not
Yeah.
burnt out at all. I have the वो जिंदा दिली बोलते हैं ना मैं जिंदा हूँ. I'm alive and I'm thriving and I feel it in every cell of my body.
Incredible. Incredible. I think I'm sure a lot of people listening to this would want to do what you're doing. And I can completely resonate with what you just said because I did my own
Yes.
stuff a few months ago, and I can completely resonate. I mean, at times I ask myself, I mean, is this any lesser load than what I would have done in a corporate? The answer to that is no. In fact, we end up getting busier.
Correct.
Um, a topic for a different conversation another day. But let's get to the audience here. I see quite a few people having logged in and listening to this, and we have some um, early comments coming in. Sudhakar says, "All the best, Deepa. Your story is truly inspiring. Thank you for your contributions to this society." Thank you, Sudhakar, for joining. And people listening into this, any questions that you may have, please feel free to share that on the comments. I'll pick them up as we continue the journey. Um, Deepa, you said a few things about your journey and how you felt um, disconnected,
Yeah.
as what we typically feel, uh, and it is different to different people.
Yeah.
Some people feel that way because of the fact that there is um, workplace culture challenges. Some people feel that way because of their own aspects that they are going through. But I think that era that you went through perhaps is a little dated.
Yeah.
If I can say that.
Yeah.
Like for example, it's been 10 years that you're on your own now, I guess.
That's yeah.
But today, a lot of people are feeling that way. Today, a lot of people feel that they have everything that they have in terms of needs and wants taken care of, but
Mhm.
also, um, if you ask them on the day after they got promoted, how are they feeling? They'll be saying, "Yeah, I mean, I got promoted. That's about it.
Mhm. Yes.
Mm, nothing changed because I was already doing this job for last 2 years. It was just a recognition that came a little too late, for that matter."
Mhm.
Uh, and I may be sounding a little bit more generalizing, but this is typically the theme that we are seeing in times like these. And a lot of it goes to organization and organizational culture and the stage in which the organization is. We can have a separate episode on what organizations can do differently. That's for another day. But I want to shift focus on individuals.
Yes.
And I think as individuals who is going through that emotion, I'm sure for a fact that a lot of people don't even know that they are going through this, right? Um, if you can just perhaps through your experience of your own journey as well as the coaching and the mentoring and the facilitation work that you're doing, bring out some of the um, aspects by which individuals can get to know when they are going through this, because what is happening is people are burning out. So any
Of
thoughts on that if you can share?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. I'm seeing exactly this trend, and I want to um, bring the audience and all of us to this thought that a lot of us when we joined the banger, when we started our career, and maybe I'm generalizing again, but I do see this happening, especially in the earlier times and lesser in the new generation, that uh, people took engineering and medicine, not always because they loved it. One could be because they got good grades, or my friend is going, let me join it. And then life happened, career happened.
Mm.
I grew and I
Mm.
grew, and there comes a time, especially when you cross 35, when your needs are taken care of, you have a family, you're settled. Around 34, 35 is when they're saying, okay, now what? Okay, I'll go to the
Mm.
next role, I'll get the next promotion, then what? So here is when something called the midlife or mid-career crisis happens. And when I
Yeah.
was working for Madura, we saw this happening in our organization. So we had introduced a program called Career Lab. It was a three and a
Mm.
half day lab where and I designed it based on the principles of Otto Scharmer's theory U, where it was like a lab where they looked at their voices, their inner voices that were pulling them back. Then what are their career choices that they had signed up for? What are their current career anchors? Edgar Schein has this concept of career anchors. And what are their career
Yeah.
anchors? Are they in alignment with that or not? It was very interesting to see that many of them were aligned, but they didn't know. Why they didn't know? Because they are not aligned to their purpose, to what brings joy to them
Mm.
in this moment. And when I'm telling them that this is what the report is saying and this is what the interview says, they're saying, Acha, मैं खुश हूँ क्या? They're asking me. They should be knowing it. It was funny, yeah.
Mm,
I mean, and they're also wondering, ki, then why am I feeling unhappy? And I'm feeling unhappy
mm,
because my boss says so. I'm feeling unhappy because my organization says so, that you should not be overjoyous in what you're doing. But I still
mm,
remember an example where one of the employee, his career anchor is pure challenge. In the current role that he has nothing but pure challenge. If
mm,
he goes to any other job, he should do the same job only. So then I asked him, are you unhappy with the company? He says, no, I'm
mm,
not unhappy with the company. And then I said, okay, tomorrow you wake up and come to the company, and let's say everything is in order. Okay, and everything is perfect. Would you enjoy? He says, kitna boring hai. So
mm,
I said, then what is the problem? Then he's thinking, actually, koi problem nahi hai. Then I said, why are you confused? So then, he says, pata nahi. This is what it is. So there
wow,
are people like that who
interesting.
are in the right role, but they are confused because they are disconnected from what sparks joy to them, what brings happy. They're supposed to be sad. There's a belief or a narrative running that I can't be so happy. And there are other kinds of people who are definitely in the wrong place. Now, in
Mm,
my one of the programs that I did, there was one lady who was consistently getting did not meet expectations or below expectations
mm,
two times in PIP. So she was nominated
mm,
for the program. As part of this
interesting.
program, she understood that she's meant to be a teacher, but she's doing a sourcing job. She's not meant for this. And when she
Yeah,
realized, and when one on one, is when she realized I don't have the courage to leave because if I leave, I don't know if I'm going to get money. And I'm a
yeah,
single parent. So, but at least you can't undo the awareness that you have got at that point of time.
yeah.
And eventually she could.
Mm,
So, this kind of a reflection or realization that connection means you're connecting to the wellspring of joy within. You're connecting to your core values. You're connecting with what brings you joy in your career. You're recalibrating with your core self. And like you said, you need to have the courage to do that.
mm,
Because once you see it, you can't
absolutely.
unsee it. It just sticks on. And then the
Yeah.
disconnection becomes so much that you might need therapy. So that's the
We'll come to
danger.
that. I have a question on that as well. Um, One of the things that you just said, Deepa, is very interesting because that's kind of a theme of the work that I have been doing as well. And I mean, by virtue of being who we are,
Mm.
we end up talking to a lot of people, and often they reach out in desperation.
Yeah.
Um, and it is unfortunate. It's more like a, ambulance coming into an emergency care kind of analogy. Um, One of the things that I then have started observing and pattern, and this is my work for the last few years, is
Mm.
lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
One of the main parts of individuals' existence in their career is how well do they understand themselves. And unfortunately, um, our academic system doesn't do a good job in that part.
Yeah.
Neither in schools, neither in colleges, nor not even in any certification programs per se.
Yes.
And
Yes.
when I through the work that I do, ask them that it is important for them to become self-aware, it's like, what are you talking about? Don't I know myself? The
Correct.
answer, right? Maybe we know the good parts of it, but there are some blind spots that we carry which we don't know about. What has been your experience? And I think I would want to understand, based on your coaching work as well, do you see this as a trend as well? And what what are some of the feelings that individuals express that gives away that there is a there is a bigger disconnect within themselves?
When you say self-awareness, I'm like alert because I just love the sound of this word,
Yeah.
self-awareness. But I tell you that when I was working in a full-time job,
Mm, mm,
the self-awareness bit was conditional to how much time I have,
mm,
or which program am I being nominated to by the organization. And luckily, because I was in the Aditya Birla group, I had opportunities.
yes.
So it was a matter of luck and chance. And whenever I
Yeah.
got that luck or chance, I used the most out of it. So I got it, I shifted, I created that for others. And I was
Mm,
doing it not because of I want to raise their awareness, but because I want to practice the skill.
yeah.
So, it is more uh, for my knowledge, and
Mm,
skill. So I realized that, when we have these key result areas, so I had, carriers, and
mm,
whatever I learned or whatever self awareness I deepened was never in my KRA.
mm,
Okay, it was never there, and I always overachieved, but I never reported it as I did it. I did not care.
mm,
Much later, when I quit and then I went into therapy and I entered the therapy world, is when I understood the extent of disconnection. Meaning,
mm,
I was so trauma bonded that even my KRAs that I was fulfilling was to prove to somebody, and most importantly, prove to myself or my mother, who in the past had told me you're good for nothing, or my father, or somebody. So, I'm always, and we all, I'm again generalizing, but is this what is a general pattern I see in leaders, in individuals, that we carry a load of the past, and if that's not resolved, then we are carrying it energetically. And
mm,
the load that we see of fulfilling KRAs or doing our jobs, or which is just the tip of the iceberg. But the load we are carrying of unresolved emotions, unresolved thoughts, or anger that is brewing for years on somebody, or revenge I want to take, or feeling that my child is not performing well, that tension, that anxiety, all of this weighs us heavily down. And when I stepped in the world of therapy and I learned it, and I started offering therapy to people, is what when I understood that what drains energy or what brings energy leaks are all the things that are invisible and subtle: thoughts,
mm,
emotions, narratives, limiting beliefs. And that's what we often crack in coaching, where we ask those questions. Or, relationships which are burnt, or emotions, especially emotions of shame and guilt, which are not coming from the present moment, but which are coming from the past. I've been shamed and I've taken that as me and I shame myself. Or I'm always guilty. So I'm never enough. And I have seen this weighing people down so much that when I'm even mirroring, they're not able to even connect with what I'm
mm.
saying, because I'm saying it from a depth which is not relatable at all. They can't see that as them. So
Yeah.
and as a therapist, I think it was fantastic an experience for me, because I could literally see the inner workings of a human being. And that's one of the
Mm,
reason I chose that before coaching. I could literally see they say something or they do something. Where is that coming from? That map of what's happening inside started becoming clearer and clearer and clearer for me. So they say something, I can just pick a question from the question bank of the inner world and
mm,
offer it to them, and they can then think about it. So it expands consciousness, it expands awareness. So I feel like my journey of self-awareness has enabled me to be a better facilitator, to be a better therapist, and a coach, and a parent. Honestly, I feel the biggest one is a parent. I know
mm.
it's your career, but
No, no,
when
it's
how
holistic.
much
Yeah.
leaders are weighed down because they are not able to figure out the tantrums of their children. It is
Yeah.
it is down them down. And I'm just next 2 weeks later, I'm going to do a workshop for an organization, they have this thing of parenting. It's an initiative, and I'm going to talk about how children mirror the parents' unresolved
Yes.
energy.
Yes.
So, and how we can't take them because we can't see ourselves. So, self
Yeah.
awareness is at the root. It's at the root of the tree. If the roots are burnt, if the roots are shallow, if the roots are fibrous, that is what is going to grow out. And then
Correct.
you struggle,
Correct.
and then the hustle we do. So I now know that my KRAs, etc., were it. I did feel burnt out, and I did feel a hustle because of the energy that was flowing out, improving in
Hmm.
working, in saying, okay, they are from XLRI, I'm not from XLRI, comparing,
Hmm.
contrasting, all of that. So if I had a chance of going back to corporate, I'm not going to pick that at all. But if I did, then I think I would be a non-hustler and very successful
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
have
Hmm.
figured that inner world out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that those kind of jobs are now not for me. I think for me, the clarity is also coming from my career anchor. And
Sure.
I now know that what really anchors me in my career. And I think I'm very rooted in that.
Brilliant. Um, I'm going to focus on a couple of words that you shared, and there is also a reflection that I have about that. We spoke about trauma. We spoke
Hmm.
about um, the
Hmm.
childhood experiences that we go through typically. Now, I have had conversations with coaches who also sometimes double hat as therapists, who have told me some of these things. In fact, I went for a course. You may know this person, Sri Devi Raghavan, who
Yes,
runs this
in your
course
life.
on Heal Your Life. Beautiful course.
Hmm.
And the point that I'm trying to drive there is that I was only man in the room.
Yeah, yeah,
All others were women.
yeah.
Um, all what you said right now is absolutely something that can be discussed, openly challenged, openly shared in closed doors, perhaps, but it's easier for a woman to express. Men don't.
Yeah.
We have had challenges because of the fact that I don't know how many people listening to this conversation are even listening this for the first time, perhaps. The trauma, the impact that the trauma has on our day-to-day lives, impact that the trauma has on our ability to lead, ability to be a good spouse or good partner for that matter, or even be a good parent. And unresolved trauma often leads to all what you just said: bad relationships, bad behaviors, bad outcomes. What has been your experience? I mean, do you see this as a similar pattern as well? And what can we do to address this, especially for men? If I can, you know,
Oh, fine.
um,
Okay.
specifically ask that, because I've coached quite a lot of people in the last 7 years of my coaching journey. Incidentally, I wrote about this as well, that most of my coachees end up being women. 65 to 70% are women because they find it easier to talk things out.
Hmm.
For men, it's much harder
Hmm.
because they are expected to, bear the responsibilities, take it on their shoulders. Um, the conditioning that we are, bringing up our children with, like, it's not okay to cry, it's not okay to express, it's not, and they bottle up, and the only thing that comes to their rescue is bottle,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I,
But yeah, what do we do, if we can just spend some time on that?
yeah. I have so many streams of answers that are coming, so I'm just trying to pick
Sure,
them.
sure, sure.
So,
It's not an easy one, I know for a fact. Yeah.
yeah, and it's vast.
Yes.
So one of the string I want to pick is, um, in my experience. So I think I started facilitating workshops, uh, open workshops from 2013.
Mm.
2012, 13, I remember. So
Mm.
from that time, my experience has been that there will be one or two men out of 11. Out
Mm.
of 11, one or two would be men, and the rest would be women. When it came to coaching, and if it's a group coaching cohort, then it is, I've experienced that in a cohort of 10, let's say there are three men. It's still,
Mm.
they still, women still outnumber. Whenever any event is advertised as performance, whenever it is above the iceberg, it attracts men. Whenever I have visioning in my workshop, equal men, equal women. Whenever it is
Interesting.
softer, emotions related anything, more women, less men. I've observed this trend. Okay, so and why I'm
Mm.
saying iceberg is because that's my favorite. I look at everything based on the iceberg. So
Yeah.
whenever it is 10%, it is men, then 90% it is women. Yeah. But I started looking at it differently in from a group to a individual. 80%
Mm.
of my individual coaches or 75% are men and not
Interesting.
women. And
Mm.
I have, if I were to look at what could be happening, I also, for me, everything is about energy. It is never the absolute principle. Like male and
Mm.
female, nahi hai. It's about the masculine energy and the feminine energy. And
Mm.
each one of us have both.
Mm.
So I've been always wondering about this principle. And for me, lately in the last 3 years, this principle has shifted. This trend has shifted, where men choose to do coaching with me. What I
Mm.
realized is that if I'm able to speak their language and enter their life through their door, which is performance and the 10%,
Mm.
then they're able to
Mm.
submit, surrender, and be open to the 90%. But if I
Correct.
enter their door through the 90%, which is from the feminine energy, okay,
Mm.
then they are closed to it. So I realize my purpose in life is to elevate consciousness of humanity, and men and
Mm.
women are equal for me. So what I realized is that means if women are coming, that means the masculine in me is underdeveloped. So I have been
Mm.
working on my masculine energy for the last 3 years, very actively. And to the extent that right
Interesting.
now I feel I'm in super balance. I
Mm.
can talk about that. I make choices. I will choose to speak in a certain way and not in a certain way, in a certain tone and not in a certain tone, challenge or not challenge. Men love to be challenged,
Hmm.
and women love to be
Absolutely.
held.
Mm.
Okay? And I know that. So I will challenge. Okay. I mean, just this morning I challenged somebody who was signing up for my upcoming cohort. I challenged. I
Mm.
said, I'm not here for this. It's
Mm.
your choice whether you want to sign up or not. I was speaking his energy. And I mean, it absolutely you can't mess with. But once you
Mm.
come in, you do everything it takes. So it's this balance of energies which normally is underdeveloped in human beings.
Mm.
Awareness and implementation. So it's like the
Sure.
roots. You can see the outer with the inner. You when you see the
Mm.
outer, you know the inner में क्या problem है.
Mm.
So when I am able to show it in the outer, what I feel in the inner, outer and inner are equal, then I think that dynamic also for the opposite person changes. And also I'm seeing that men not waiting for company sponsored coaching, but on their own signing up for self sponsored coaching with me. I'm seeing
Wonderful.
this trend. So it's very interesting. Though something must have sparked for them, and I'm
Correct.
not sure what. Something must have sparked, and
Correct.
we work with that. So
Wonderful.
it's,
Wonderful.
I mean, yeah, and all of this and trauma I have seen in every single human being. And what is
Yes.
trauma? I just want to clarify. Trauma is not the
Yes.
incident you've gone through. Trauma is how the person has reacted or felt that experience in their inner. So, in the same house, two siblings, the same incident could be very different. For one, it's a trauma, for one, it is not. So trauma is
Mm.
again very, very loosely, used word. This is traumatic, but trauma is very different from, how we speak about trauma. So when even a child who, I often say that for a child, if the mother disappears for half an hour, that if the child feels, oh my God, I am not held, I'm lost, I'm alone. If the child thinks like that when they are a child, that is trauma for them. It doesn't need to be a big one, big
Yeah, yeah.
hitting or abuse or big whatever. So it can be as small as that. And there are lots of experiments in psychology which tells you about that. So when there are incidents that happen in our childhood, and if it is not processed, not looked at, it's like you are putting it under the carpet, and then you're building an imarat. You're building a layer on layer on layer on layer, and it actually feels like that dump yard. What do you call that? In Bombay, Mankud mein hai na, the dumping yard.
Yes.
Stench.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
stench is energy. It's the
Yeah.
same energy that you need to suppress that dump, and it's the same energy that you use to go to heights in your career, in your leadership, in everything. So you have to, as leaders, all of us have to make a choice whether you want to keep dumping or you want to keep exploring through self-awareness, through whichever way, and use that, convert that energy, which is potential, to performance.
Wonderful. Um, you mentioned a couple of words, and I want to pick on that as well. The child goes through experiences. The child does not know how to process it, and that's what trauma is. Um, what does processing mean
What is
for anyone
processing?
listening?
That's a
Yeah,
good
for anyone who's
question.
listening to this. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Honestly, we don't sit and process unless we hit a roadblock. Yeah.
Yes.
So I have to tell you that processing generally, we need a nimitta, we need a reason for it. So
Mm. Mm.
in corporate professionals, one of the reason is burnout, or
Mhm.
getting irritated with a manager or a colleague, or could be parenting issues. I can't just deal with
Mm.
my teenage son, or something like
Yeah,
that. So there is a spark which makes you
it
bear it
does.
to a threshold level. When it goes beyond the threshold, then you can't bear it anymore, and then you have to really, you may be forced to look at it. Now, not everybody is forced to look at it. What they do is they again force themselves to go to the bottle or to addictions to numb the pain.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
there's bottle, there's cigarette, and there's any other addiction. And one of the
Yeah. Yeah.
biggest celebrated addiction is workaholism.
Mm.
So workaholism is all accepted. It's not like you're an alcoholic, no? You're a
Mm.
workaholic. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
I
and
kill
that
I
one,
kill at work.
yeah, correct, absolutely. So
Mm.
and that again, that goes beyond a threshold because you're going to be exhausted,
Yeah.
fatigued, etc. And that is
Yes.
when you say, what the hell is happening to my life? Normally, you meet a book, you meet a
Mm.
person, you meet a
Mm.
program, you meet a course, or you meet a therapist. Something happens. You
Mm.
come face to face with something. Typically, this happens, and I'm a practitioner of biography from a psycho-spiritual perspective. So this happens around 36, 37. A lot of people
Mm.
quit jobs, a lot of people have shifts in career, a lot of changes happen, people leave relationships, people start focusing on spirituality. A lot of shifts happen at that time. So, processing is then a window that opens up to say, what really is happening in my life? Why am I so unhappy? Why am I using this or that or this or that as an escape? And what am I not seeing? And then I either meet a book and I work with that, or I ask a friend, this is or I meet a guru, I take to spirituality, I go to art of living, I do the kriya, I do something, and I process. So sometimes processing is following a religious practice. Sometimes processing is going to a therapist and looking at those layers. For me, that is what was processing. For somebody else, it could be a coaching conversation or a coaching course that opens up their
Mm.
window. Or for some people, it can be a sponsored program from the organization which opens them, up. Like I was sponsored to an NTL program, which is
Sure.
like a lab, and and I think that opened up a lot for me. In terms of that, I'm not happy. I have a great career, but I'm
Mm.
not happy. So it could have that kind of a processing, and for some people, it could be breath work or any spiritual practice.
Interesting. I'm going to take a couple of questions and comments right now. Uh, B. Srinivas says, it's interesting insight, Deepa. How did you cope up with disconnect and still did the best?
How did I cope up with disconnect? I didn't cope. I
Should we
sank.
cope?
Yeah, I, I I don't believe in it. I didn't cope at all. I was sinking in it. I was
Mm.
immersed in it, and I came to a point where I felt the only way out is not shut it, numb it, but look at it, meet it in its eye.
Yeah.
But it's a very difficult process because a lot of my shadows, my dark, my mistakes will stare in front of me and tell me, Deepa, you messed up, you screwed it up. And I have to take that. And therefore, I knew that I don't want to do this alone. So in
Mm.
2012 onwards, 2013
Mm.
onwards, I was in therapy. I was first in therapy with a therapist, and then 1 year I realized that I was so intelligent that I was not truthful, and the therapist was not able to. I was so good with my
Things
words.
we do.
Yes, and therefore I knew that this is not the therapy I needed. I want Jungian therapy because I
Mm.
wanted to go deep into somebody to go deep into my unconscious. I wanted to use different alternative methods. I wanted to use movement. I wanted to use sand play. I wanted to use art. I want to use a lot of other things because I knew that working with the body, working with the hands, was a way
Mm.
to trick my conscious mind, the tricking mind. And I
Mm.
met my favorite therapist. And
Mm.
for 9 years, every Wednesday at 10:15, I would be at her place. And sometimes the same topic, I will be whining and crying, and she'll give me tissue papers and all of that. And I did that because I knew that I needed it. And for no reason or cost, I would say I will stop it. One day, after 9 years, I realized that I'm done with it. And today I feel like Gopal, and whoever asked it, that every minute I spent in processing my inner is paying off, because the
Mm.
way I can hold space for myself in any storm that comes today, and the way I can hold space for my clients through different methods is unbelievable. It's unparalleled. And I know I'm
Mm.
very good at it. So there is that confidence because I have worked on it. I didn't cope with it, I didn't drown in it, and I had a partner in progress. So I think that partner made a huge difference for me. And it's not just one thing. At one point of time, I had two therapists. At one point of time, I had one therapist, one coach, and multiple programs I was doing. And I binged sign up to courses. This method, that method, this method, that method, because I was looking for answers. Why did this happen? What made this happen? Why did I choose this? Why does this happen? I had so many
Mm.
questions. So there is no one way, I feel like, explore, experiment, and
Yeah.
you will find a way of. For me now, the word cope is very different. Cope could mean that my head is above water and I'm just flowing smoothly. Cope could mean I've shut everything down and I'm
Sure.
flowing. For me now, it is my head is above the water, my feet are grounded, and I can swim through, and I'm happy about it. That way.
Wonderful. Um, the second part of the question is still did the best. I don't know. I mean, I feel that we kind of sometimes become too hard on ourselves to say that we have to keep doing the best. Why can't we do just okay? maybe a reflection point for all of us. The next
Yeah.
question is from Roshni. It sounds to me that there is a general myth that working in corporate is the means to a monetary end, that one is expected to find joy and fulfillment in our job. So even if you love your job, you don't really believe you could be feeling that way about something that's supposed to be transactional. This is not so when you work for yourself or work for NGO or in a non-corporate job. Thank you for sharing, Roshni. Not Roshni, Rohini. Thank you for
Rohini.
sharing, Rohini. Uh, this is Sri Vikas, who's written good tips and reflections. Thank you, Sri, for joining. Uh, Trapped emotions weigh us down and lead to feel unwell.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well said
And
again. Yeah. Deepa, one of the things that I want to, dig a little more deeper in terms of the way people deal with themselves. So there are three parties involved if I'm thinking about any workplace today, right? One is who we are, one is who we work with as part of people working with us, which could be the team members who are junior, looking up to us, and one is people who we look up to. Um, the three of them are not necessarily in alignment. Uh, and as much as what we spent the last 45 minutes in understanding what could we do individually, you could still find yourself in a situation where you are dealing with people who have unprocessed trauma. Uh, in your experience, what do you suggest to people who perhaps might have figured out stuff for themselves, but have to day in, day out work with people who have unprocessed stuff? What could be
yeah.
done by them?
There are two parts to it. One kind of people I know, I mean, I deal with people who are reporting to a narcissist boss. Very
Hmm.
tough. Honestly, nothing can be done
Hmm.
because if you look at, they are in high trauma zone and they'll never do
Hmm.
their inner work. So it's impossible to change them and you will lose your sanity with them. So it is difficult, and
Hmm.
the only way is to do more. You can do inner work, but there is a limit to it. So
Hmm.
honestly, I don't know there is a solution to that.
Sure.
The second answer, the second reflection that's coming to me is that the outer world is a reflection
Hmm.
of what needs to shift in the inner. Uh, So, if there is a difficulty that's coming from the outside, either misalignment or anger or whatever, the question I always invite the clients to ask is what within you needs to heal for this to be in
Hmm.
alignment outside. And people don't understand this, but definitely there is a projection of what's inner on the outer, and everything that's happening outside. Because see, interesting, no, we are not living in an isolated spiritual world where there are only gods and goddesses. We are living in a real world where you and I are different. We are not the same,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
means that till I go to my grave, I have work to do inside. And who will give me that work? I'm not going to pull and get that work. You and I and the boss and everybody I'm interacting with is going to give me that. Otherwise, life is
Hmm.
boring
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
dull. How much can you eat and drink?
Hmm.
So, so then that's what spices up life. So instead of weighing yourself
Yeah.
down and saying that, my boss is a jerk or my team member is difficult or, I can't understand, the question always is what within you, and you will find something. If you can't find, I would say that, they must, they can reach out to people who can help them figure it out. Could be a mentor, could be somebody they trust, or could be a
Hmm.
coach, could be anybody whom they can consult. And that is like deepening self-awareness. I mean, I say it because that's my approach. If I
Sure.
meet a
Sure.
difficulty outside, I go in because I cannot shift anybody outside. It's impossible to shift them.
Hmm. True that. True that. Um, and in that situation, what should one do to cope?
When I can't shift the opposite, or the other person, you mean?
Yeah.
First is looking inward. Yeah. And
Mm,
the other thing is conversations.
mm,
How what is needed to be, every situation needs to be anchored on my values.
mm.
What be if I base this on my values, that what does my value guide me to do in this moment to align the situation,
Mm,
and my
mm.
values will give me that anchor, that way forward. The problem is that not everybody knows their values, or they've articulated their values, and there
Yeah.
is a generic understanding of values. Okay, and not necessarily that you have honesty and I have honesty as a value. Our definitions are same. So my
Mm,
invitation is for everybody to pay deep attention to what your values are, and write them down, and maybe if you don't know, hang it on a wall, and look at
yeah.
it every day, so that when you're pushed against the wall, you know what to anchor on. Your anchor doesn't need to be outside. Your anchor can be inside on your values.
Beautiful. But Deepa, what happens today is the fact that we work with a lot of people in general who are unhealed. That's one.
Absolutely.
But there is also a lot of people who carry the inner critic,
Yeah, of course.
you know, that sometimes become and critiquing of others as well. We all do that
Ash.
sometimes when things don't go our way. But the sad part is that if because of this, they creates sabotaging
Yeah,
effect on themselves and people around them.
yeah,
You know, um, is there something that individuals can do? And I'm sure, I mean, as I said, there is a lot that organizations can do as well, which is why I think there is a big shift in organizations now looking for coaching for their people, which is a fantastic thing. But what should individuals do to be aware of this? I mean, self awareness one is a very big, vast ocean for that matter.
yeah,
Even just simple thing about understanding what their inner critic is, what can individuals do? Like, what are two or three things an individual can do who doesn't know anything about
yeah,
um, emotions, feelings, etc., etc.?
yeah,
What could be the starting point?
yeah. So the first reason why inner critic exists is, back then, when you were young, your somebody, your parent or
Mm,
your caregiver, your aunt, somebody would have said, you can't do it. You can't do it.
mm,
So they would have sown that seed of negativity, and then that seed would have grown in your inner, and become a tree, which is called the inner critic tree. But if you go to the
mm,
source of inner critic, the inner critic is helping you to, it's safeguarding you from an
mm,
eventuality. It's actually a
mm,
protection. When I was studying psychology, we've really worked so much with the inner critic, and really looked at uh, what is the fear that I'm protecting myself from. So, how one of the clear steps to work on inner critic is that, go back to your past times when, uh, either you're messed up, or you have failed in an assignment or something like that. What is the first voice that you hear inside to yourself? Okay, so you're like this only. You always mess up. This is what I used to hear. And I used to hear in my mother tongue.
mm.
Okay, and this is, I'm just bringing it because in my childhood I was told in Tamil, I was told, "Nee maadu maike povai." You're fit enough to graze cows.
Yeah.
I would hear that in my ears. I could hear it. So sometimes the inner critic voice is not even your voice. It's that person who has told you. You can hear that kind of a voice. So first
Yeah.
step is to recognize what's that voice, because that is the voice that is sabotaging you. And why does it exist? So that it doesn't, if I play big, then I might fall. If I fall, I
Mm,
lose my face. There's shame. So let me not play big. Deepa, don't play big, otherwise you will fall. This is what the inner critic is doing. So you want to run the race. You know you can run the race, but this inner critic has its chain on one of your leg, so you can't move forward. Okay, and you can see the goalpost there. So it's a pull and push, you know you can go, but it will not allow you to go. And the biggest thing is you're disconnected from your reality. You actually can do it. I actually could do it. And but then this grip is so much, it's an energy. So first listen to what is that inner critic. Write it down, paint it, draw it. I
Mm,
used to
mm,
do,
mm, mm,
I used to have a clay symbol of it because I
mm.
needed to see it. I needed to see it every day so that when it comes, I can recognize it because it's so inside. It's an emotion or a voice. I can recognize it. I need
Wow.
to
Mm,
recognize it. So I had it on my table. It was a red
mm.
color thing. One of the LinkedIn posts also have written on it. And I, in my current, in my cohorts, I talk about it. We actually work with the
Sure,
inner critic. It's very important to really know your inner critic. Once you know
sure.
it, you'll know that you can make a choice. You want to be chained or not. And once you work
Yeah.
on that, you will know others' inner critic. When somebody tells me, कि ये तो होगा नहीं, it's an inner critic.
Mm,
Okay, then I will challenge them. ये क्यों नहीं होगा? What's making you say this? उसका कोई
mm.
वजूद नहीं. There's no foundation. It's an air.
Something is emerging for me. I'll have a call with you after this.
Sure, sure.
Um,
I have to also tell you that on your own doing
yes.
this, it's
Mm,
difficult, because
yeah.
the energy is so gripping
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I'm in it. I'm engulfed in it. I'm enmeshed with it. So it is
Yeah.
difficult. What I'm saying sounds easy, but I have dealt with it for years and struggled with it. And my therapist, my coaches have helped.
Mm, mm. No, I think you're right. I always say this, right? If people could heal themselves, we wouldn't need doctors.
Correct.
And so, yeah. But what you just said is something which is very interesting because I feel, after listening to this, I feel people fear success more than failures.
Absolutely. This is true. And they cry about it that I'm not successful. So for me, it makes sense. This Tim Galvika equation: performance is equal to
Mm,
potential minus interference. I swear by it. And my
mm,
job, my work is I only work on interferences, but not external interferences. My
mm,
work as a coach, as a therapist, as a coach, as a facilitator, is to make you see the inner interferences, that which is invisible. I only work
sure.
on that. Interference ko nikal diya. You remove it. What remains is pure potential to performance. That's all
Absolutely.
that's needed.
Absolutely.
And that joy is boundless.
Mm, mm, mm. Wonderful. Now, I want to touch upon one more aspect. I know we are on time, but I think this is an important one to be discussed, which is as a result of who we are, with all that we carry, it has a direct effect on our personal lives as well,
Oh yeah.
um, in form of our being a partner to our partners, spouses, whoever you want to call, being children to uh, our parents, being parents to our children as well. Um, what what can and often this is an extremely complex thing, right? Because I mean, yeah, you can go and seek help, but your mother or your parents or your siblings are not going to be agreeable to some of these things, and you can't quit them, unfortunately. So how do we
Correct.
deal with some of these situations? What can be done in that situation? Any experiences that you have that you can share with the audience? Because I'm sure a lot of people would be going through this.
Yeah. Yeah. So when someone starts the inner work journey, it's like a transition, and we
Mm,
know that the career transit any transition is very wobbly. There is no
mm,
ground. You've lost a ground. You need to find a new ground, and you're in between. And
mm,
at this time, also the chance of rebounding and coming back to the old ground is very high because
mm.
you're just a new seed. You've not rooted.
Right.
And you've not
Correct.
sprouted. So at that time, and at that time there are lots of issues that are possible in the family, and people saying, I see a change and I'm not liking it.
Yeah.
So my submission is that hold on to it, because if you're on a transition, there is something much higher that's emerging, that is waiting to
Yeah.
emerge. You've not seen it. So I always see tell people that when you enter the tunnel at the beginning, you enter because you want to see the light.
Mm.
You enter and then you feel, okay, I'm sensing that light will come. Or we
Mm.
go inside and say, I'm beginning to feel the light. And then
Mm.
you go further into that tunnel, you say, okay, at a far distance I see the light. And then another distance I see, okay, the light is coming closer. And finally you say, I am in light.
Mm.
Okay, so it is this journey that you have to
Stay
hold
true
on
to it.
to. Yes, and why I'm saying it is because I've gone through all these processes,
Sure.
and where I am right now is I am in light, and I
Mm.
feel it, and it's all a
Mm.
feeling. It's not a head thing. It's in the body. It's in the feeling, and like I feel like I will not go back to that tunnel. That's a feeling.
Mm.
While
Mm.
people say
Mm.
you can always go back, I have a feeling that I am there. I can grow the light, but I am in light.
Sure.
So just hang on to it, and to hang on to this process, have journeymen. When I'm saying men, men and women, have journey people with you. Could be
Yeah.
cohort, or could be a senior, could be anyone. But please have somebody so that you're not alone in the process, and that
Yeah.
process of rebounding or coming back is minimized, or the chances are less if you have people along.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some really great comments coming in. Rohini says trapped emotions weigh us down and lead to feel unwell. Absolutely. Sashwati says it all starts with self-awareness and that it's point of inflection. Lucky they are who have family and friends who can help. Else it's a downward spiral. Shri says, and sometimes not taking life too seriously helps. We are not here as permanent souls. Living life as if it is the last day is a big perspective to practice each day. Being grateful for simple things in your life is everything that's needed. Absolutely great insight. Sashwati says, "Great podcast, Gopal. Would we should have part two? Loved hearing you share, Deepa." And lastly,
Okay,
I
part
am.
two, and then part five also.
We can go on and on. Archana says, "I am the light." Wow, beautiful. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you thank you
And my
people
name
for
is
joining
also
in.
Light, Gopal.
Yeah, sorry,
My name
I
is
didn't get
Light,
that. Ah, Deepa,
Deepa.
yes, absolutely, absolutely, very well said. Now, I did not prepare you for this. There is a rapid fire round,
Okay,
which I'm going to ask you a few questions and let's, I think, quickly see what's emerging for us, right?
sure.
One belief about leadership that you have unlearned.
Everything is cast in stone.
Hmm,
Everything can be changed
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
rewritten.
Yeah. Stillness to you is
Lake, like a lake.
beautiful. Uh, city had a lot of lakes, but yeah, we need to go and find them back. Um, a book, a ritual, or a practice that saved you.
A ritual is grounding. My feet
Hmm,
on the ground. Because I always know that Mother Earth is holding me,
hmm,
and
beautiful.
she
And that's
continues to.
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is why sometimes they say you should walk barefoot.
Yeah,
And we have unfortunately lost touch with that.
yeah.
Um, Also, a lot of cities have now concrete roads. Your favorite presence check in when life gets noisy?
What am I feeling right now?
Hmm.
Always.
Okay, okay, okay. Finish the sentence. The future of leadership is
Self awareness.
very well said. Very well said. Well, Thank you, Deepa, for joining in, sharing your thoughts, your perspectives. Any parting thoughts for the audience who's listening today?
I always say that lead with energy and layer it with skills. And normally in
Beautiful.
leadership, we are taught to lead with skills, and who cares about energy? But leading with
So true.
energy
So true.
is the new leadership, wave working in, and it's a game changer. And I am going to change this game. And please be a part of this movement. Please, please, please. Each one of us have that responsibility because your energy is only your responsibility. It cannot be anybody else's.
True that. Very true. Very true. We can't outsource this. And there's no GCC that will help us.
Okay.
Ah, well, thank you, Deepa. Really appreciate you joining us today, sharing your thoughts, your perspective, for your presence, for the space that you held. What you did was not just speak about energy, but you actually embodied it. And you reminded us that leadership isn't about direction, but it is about depth. And the power doesn't always roar, sometimes it simply breathes. You helped us see the performance without presence is a trap. That reflection, movement, and silent aren't luxuries for the privileged, but they are the necessities for us as human beings. To everyone listening in, this conversation wasn't just about leadership. This was about returning to who you are, your body, your boundaries, your rhythm, your truth, and keep coming back to yourself if you can. So the next time you find yourself numbing, rushing, over functioning, pause. Not because you have earned a break, but because you deserve to belong to yourself again. Because the most powerful shift you will ever make won't be a new title, new company, or a new strategy, but it will be a new way of being. Thank you for listening. Until next time, stay rooted, stay real, and stay present, and keep watching the Career Shifts podcast. Sayonara. See you soon. Take care.